morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be here with you today and to take part in this important and interesting conference. My name is Olena Kyrychenko, and I work on improving and implementing services that help banks and financial organizations to block fraudsters more effectively and reduce card risks. We do it in Ukrainian association YEMA. We support the growth of cashless payments, secure payments, and we help financial organizations to cooperate against fraudsters. Here is our Facebook page, and please, you are welcome to send us any comments, any questions, even during my talk, just they don't sleep your mind. And before I show you the services we provide today, let me take you back 10, 12 years ago. At the time I was working in a customer support team in a bank, and it was a late evening of Friday, and we got a call from furious VIP client. Guess what happened? The money had been just stolen from his card. The personal manager of this client was desperate to understand what happened, and the client, of course, pressed us for answers. Where was his money? Our supervisor wasn't present, so we tried to cope somehow with this situation, and we started reaching out the contacts of the bank who processed these fraudulent transactions, and the only thing we could do, it was writing letters and calls to this bank and the person we knew from that bank personally. But minutes turned to hours and there was no reply. It was already super late and our client was extremely furious, and of course in the end we were too late. Next morning we got to know that money was spent already by fraudsters, and it was a social engineering case. The customer was forced by fraudsters to tell them his payment details. So, of course, a little later, money was returned to customer account, but of course on the bank cost. Years later, when I moved to anti-fraud team of a bank, I learned from my boss that there was a thing which we needed that late evening, and it's the platform which allows banks and financial organizations to exchange information about fraud and take actions in time. Why did we need such a platform? Because back then, when cases like I1 have just described start happening, fraud landscape was a bit different. It was more technical, more malware driven. However, when online payments started to grow, fraudsters evolved as well. They didn't stay still, they started investigation these new channels. And this created a rapidly growing problem that payment fraud was accelerating extremely, and it was reaching significant scale. Attackers no longer needed to study how ATM works to deceive some sophisticated ATM attacks, for example. Imagination and a basic knowledge about human psychology, it was enough to create various, plenty social engineering scenarios. Did this happen to any one of you? For example, a few months ago, I was contacted by fraudsters. They pretended to be as kind of my friend. Of course, I realized at once that my friend was hacked, his account, but I decided to play along a little bit. And I said, what happened? And kind of my friend said, you know, I need to borrow money from you because I need to buy a gift for my wife. Well, my friend wasn't even married, but I said, yeah, okay. You know, I tried to send you money, but seems like your card is restricted. Maybe you have another one. And he said, yeah, please try this one. And I did it twice. So in the end, I had 3 of his cards. And I used this nice conversation to send letter to issuer banks, where I pointed out these 3 cards and noticed that it's probably fraudulent related customer. And then I decided to send screenshot of this letter to these fraudsters. You know what? He got offended, and he told me, that's awful. I will claim a reclamation against you. I was like, yeah, nice. I don't know where, but probably fraudsters also have customer support team, something like this. Meanwhile, banks try to prevent fraud, but by their own, without communicating with each other. Even when banks did share information, it was often through personal context, and it was often informal. It wasn't a coordinated and secure channel of communications. At the same time, fraudsters has much more freedom. They wasn't regulated by government, for example. They had much money, and they had much more time to create sophisticated schemes to deceive people. And now, when topic of money mules is still very, very relevant, the need for fast and secure information exchange is very high. And what we need is collaborative approach. And the solution we found for our country is a centralized anti-fraud hub platform where banks and financial organizations can share fraud information in real time. On this slide, you can see that we cooperate with different financial and non-financial organizations. But today, I would like to tell you more about 3 services which may be interesting for you as well. First is fraud payments tracker. That is definitely the thing we needed that late night in the call center. It's a service for tracking and blocking fraudulent transactions. It's designed for better and faster communication between banks. For example, if money is stolen from one account in one bank and transferred to another bank, the receiving bank can be notified immediately, and in this way, bank can respond and check if money are saved, preserved, and can be returned to customer. All communication happens in one system, so you don't need emails, you don't have delays, even if someone is sick or on vacation. The second service, Kyrychenko, is service for automated cooperation with cyber police of Ukraine. So nowadays, our customer can sentence fraud to cyber police, and if it's card or account fraud, and there is a card detail, Kyrychenko will direct this statement directly to the bank which issued this account or card. And this way, bank can respond and help the cyber police to track funds flow after fraudulent transaction. This service makes fraud investigation much more easier. It takes hours instead of months before. And the third service, it works like karma, because every fraudster who was noticed in fraud payments tracker or Kyrychenko, they leave their track in incident tracking service. It's like fraud database about people who are related with fraud. And this database is used to accumulate this experience, and then bank can use it like to integrate to their inner system to make making decision process easier. For example, bank can estimate whether client has negative information in this base, for example, during remote onboarding on mobile banking. And let me show some advantages how Anti-Fraud Hub changed fraud prevention. First, the speed of communication has increased dramatically. In the past, reporting fraud and given reply, it could take hours, days, or maybe weeks. Nowadays, it's less than 5 minutes, or if bank automated this process completely, it takes seconds. Second advantage is the anti-fraud hub changed the way banks work with fraud-related information. Before, each bank worked with his fraudsters in isolation, like without sharing with anyone. Nowadays, it's a big database. It contains more than 100,000 of data of fraudsters, and every member of Anti-Fraud Hub can use it in their work. And some figures from this year. From the beginning of this year, we returned around 38,000 euros to clients' accounts, and the amount which is frozen and still available for return, it's 79,000 euros. And by the way, I want to mention that cross-border refunds are also possible. We have already had this experience in this. It was done by international payment systems, and this experience can definitely be scaled. And everything I have told you today about Anti-Fraud Hub is just the part of what we have in our association, YIMA. We provide educational initiatives. We have so-called YIMA Academy for citizens for improve their financial literacy. We run educational Ukrainian. We represent Ukraine internationally. We cooperate with different international organizations. And for our members, we provide regular events, brainstorming, webinars, conference, working group. And of course, we are active in international cooperation. And talking about international cooperation, I'm very happy to say that MAIB and Victoria Bank are already YIMA members, and nowadays we are in the process of signing agreements with Moldenkonto Bank. So that means that using Anti-Fraud Hub, Moldovan banks can exchange fraud information faster and more effective. So we are happy to work with everyone who is concerned with fraud prevention. Cross-border fraud is on the rise. We know from our cyber police that Moldovan and Ukrainian fraudsters are often working together. And that means that our cooperation between banks and financial organizations across the borders is very, very high for now. You can just drop us a message. We can invite you to our meetings, our events. You will see how it works from inside, or we can just meet and talk. Thank you for your attention. I will be happy to take your questions during coffee break. And as well, me and my colleague Irina, we are here till the end of the day. Feel free to come and talk with us anytime. Thank you very much.